Deep within a shadowy forest where twisted oak trees stretched their gnarled branches toward the cloudy sky, two children trudged along a narrow dirt path. Hansel, an 8-year-old boy with messy brown hair that stuck up in every direction, wore a patched blue shirt and torn brown pants that barely reached his ankles. His bright green eyes darted nervously between the towering trees as he clutched his younger sister's hand. Beside him walked Gretel, a 7-year-old girl with golden braids that bounced against her shoulders and sparkling blue eyes that reminded everyone of summer skies. Her red dress, though faded and wrinkled, still had tiny white flowers embroidered along the hem, and her small bare feet stepped carefully over roots and stones. "I'm getting really scared, Hansel," Gretel whispered, her voice trembling like autumn leaves in the wind. "Why did Mother and Father leave us here all alone?" Hansel squeezed her hand tighter and tried to sound braver than he felt. "Don't worry, Gretel. I dropped breadcrumbs along the path so we can find our way home," he said, though his stomach twisted with worry. The forest seemed to grow darker with each passing minute, and strange sounds echoed from behind every tree. When they turned around to follow the trail of breadcrumbs back home, both children gasped in horror. Where neat little piles of bread should have marked their path, they found absolutely nothing except bare dirt and scattered leaves. 3 plump gray squirrels sat nearby, their cheeks bulging with the last of the breadcrumbs, their tiny black eyes twinkling with mischief. "Oh no," Gretel cried, tears streaming down her rosy cheeks. "Now we're completely lost." For what felt like hours, the two children wandered deeper into the mysterious forest, their feet aching and their stomachs growling louder than angry bears. Just when they thought they couldn't take another step, the most incredible sight appeared through a clearing in the trees. "Gretel, look," Hansel shouted, pointing ahead with excitement. "Do you see what I see?" Before them stood the most extraordinary house their child had ever imagined in their wildest dreams. The walls were made entirely of golden brown gingerbread cookies, perfectly baked and still smelling deliciously sweet. Colorful gumdrops decorated the window frames like tiny jewels, while peppermint sticks formed the fence posts around a garden made of candy canes. The roof consisted of chocolate shingles that gleamed in the afternoon sunlight, and a door made of the largest sugar cookie they'd ever seen stood slightly open, as if inviting them inside. "This has to be a dream," Gretel whispered, reaching out to touch one of the gingerbread walls. When her finger came away covered in sweet crumbs, she giggled with pure delight. "It's real, Hansel. We can actually eat this house." Without waiting another second, both children began breaking off pieces of the delicious walls and stuffing them into their hungry mouths. The gingerbread tasted better than anything they'd ever eaten, warm and spicy with hints of cinnamon and nutmeg. Suddenly, the sugar cookie door creaked open wider, and out stepped the most frightening woman the children had ever encountered. She appeared to be about 70 years old, with wild silver hair that stuck out in every direction like a bird's nest after a storm. Her wrinkled face was covered in warty bumps, and her crooked yellow teeth jutted out at odd angles when she smiled menacingly. She wore a tattered black dress that dragged along the ground, and her long, bony fingers ended in sharp, dirty fingernails that looked like claws. "Well, well, well," the witch cackled, her voice sounding like rusty hinges on an old door. "What do we have here? 2 delicious little children nibbling on my beautiful house." Her beady red eyes gleamed with hunger as she studied Hansel and Gretel from head to toe. "Come inside, my dears. I have much more food waiting for you." Though something about her smile made both children feel uneasy, their empty stomachs convinced them to follow her through the cookie door. For the next 3 days, the witch kept Hansel locked in a cage made of pretzel sticks while forcing Gretel to help prepare enormous meals. "Eat, eat, my little boy." The witch would screech every morning, shoving plates of pancakes, cookies, and candy through the pretzel bars. "You must get nice and plump." Meanwhile, Gretel scrubbed floors and washed dishes, all while plotting desperately to find a way to rescue her brother and escape from this terrible place. On the 4th night, While both children lay awake worrying about their fate, something extraordinary happened outside the gingerbread house. A mystical chameleon named Chester, no bigger than Hansel's hand, crept silently across the candy cane fence. His scales shimmered and changed colors like a rainbow as he moved, shifting from emerald green to royal purple to brilliant gold. His large, wise eyes surveyed the situation, and his tiny voice whispered ancient magic words that sparkled in the moonlight like fairy dust. Chester's magical spell worked perfectly, causing the witch to fall into the deepest sleep imaginable right in the middle of stirring her giant cauldron. "Quick, Gretel," Chester called in his squeaky but confident voice. "Break your brother free while she's under my enchantment." Gretel didn't hesitate for even a second, smashing the pretzel cage with a rolling pin and pulling Hansel to safety. The brave little chameleon had saved them both with his incredible powers. Just as the first rays of dawn painted the sky pink and orange, the children heard heavy footsteps crunching through the forest toward the gingerbread house. Crash! The cookie door burst open with such force that pieces of gingerbread flew everywhere like confetti. There stood their father, a tall man with kind brown eyes and graying hair, his face filled with relief and joy. "Hansel! Gretel," he cried, gathering both children into the biggest, warmest hug they'd ever received. "I've been searching for you everywhere," their father explained, tears of happiness streaming down his weathered cheeks. "Your stepmother convinced me to leave you in the forest, but I realized immediately what a terrible mistake I'd made. I've been walking day and night, following every path and calling your names until my voice was hoarse." He looked around at the magical gingerbread house with amazement. "How did you ever find such an incredible place? And what happened to that witch?" As they walked home together through the forest, Hansel and Gretel took turns telling their father about their amazing adventure, from the breadcrumb-eating squirrels to Chester the magical chameleon who had saved their lives. Their father listened with wonder, shaking his head at their creativity and courage in such a frightening situation. "You two are the bravest, most resourceful children in the entire world," he said proudly, and they all agreed that curiosity and exploration had led them to the most extraordinary adventure of their lives, even if it had been terrifying at times.